Smokes it.
Welcome to the main event. Stephen McCollum. The original OG is back. Adam Michaels.
One more week, got the revite. Got called up again.
Yeah, we haven't given you the boot yet.
Not yet.
Is that good news or bad news?
That's good news. It's coming.
Jason Carter is again off doing other fun things. I don't know if he'd rather be here or what he's doing, but he's doing that stuff.
Pretty sure he'd rather be here.
less stress here, let's put it that way.
Definitely.
So hopefully one of these weeks we will get him back, but they're working on some stuff and he will be back. But I do have his picks for this week. That will be later. He's not going to be able to call in this week, but we do have his picks, which his picks suck. I don't think it matters anymore. But the nice thing is we can throw him under the bus when he's not here.
That's true. We can talk all the crap we want and
can't say a thing about it. So, exciting news in the sports world because the World Series started 2 nights ago, Adam.
And I'm 0-2 in my picks.
Yeah, so Jason I posted it out on Facebook and on Twitter at the Main Event Pod. And, of course, the Main Event Facebook page. But Jason has the Nationals in 6. And we all laughed at that.
I laughed loudly at that.
Adam had Houston in 5, which I was leaning towards originally. But then I settled with Houston in 6, which I still have a chance for. You, however.
I'm done. Over. Forget about it.
So Garrett Cole starts on game 1, and they lose by a lot. Verlander starts game 2, and the Astros lose by a lot. He fell apart in the 7th inning.
Wait, hold on. That's just it. Oh, wait.
Oh.
Nope. It's another Nationals home run.
No, yeah. I'm like, what? Yeah. They're hitting another one on an off day. Nice. I'm rooting for the Nationals, as I said originally, like last week. I'm rooting for the Nationals, but I didn't think there was any chance they had against his pitching on Houston. But I guess we're finding out why the Nationals are the hottest team in baseball since May 22nd.
Yeah, I mean, just what they've been able to do against even last night, you're just like, they got 2 off of Verlander in the first, and then you're like, and then he settled down, it seemed like, and then the next time you look around, it's like, what is going on here?
Yeah, what was it, the 7th when they exploded again off of him before they pulled him out?
Yeah.
And National starter last night,
Steven Strasburg.
Strasburg goes 5 innings, so you think the favors are in the you think it's in the Astros wagon and being at home. So I don't know, man. What do you think? You think the series is over? You think Houston has a comeback involved here?
You know, it's really hard to say. I mean, the way this Nationals team is playing, it's hard to discredit them. That you can see all of a sudden Houston making this. I don't know what the stat is, but it's astronomical being down 2-0 to come back and win.
4 teams have lost 2 games at the first 2 games at home and come back and won the World Series. And it's not as many as you think. It's like 4 out of like 8 or something. It's pretty good odds.
Really? I would have thought it would have been more like.
And with the Houston's pitching, you think they have a good shot at it, right? I mean,
yeah, but that Nationals offense is just.
Yeah, but that's the thing with Cole pitching in game 1, Verlander in game 2. The Nationals have scored 17 runs in 2 games. It's just amazing what's going on. And like I said, of the 3 of us, you, me, and Jason, I'm the only one with Washington Nationals gear. So that's going to be getting whipped out here.
The bottom line is you still picked Houston, though. I mean,
I know.
You can sit here and pat yourself on the back for your Nationals gear, but if you would have picked them, the only one that could wear Nationals gear would be Jason at this point.
Yeah, but he's just picking the Nationals because Houston.
He hates Houston.
Yeah,
it's the armpit.
Dallas and Houston,
whatever
whatever you crazy Dallas people think about Houston that nobody else gives a dang about in the world. But no, I mean, just looking at it, I mean, I declared last week.
Although their highway system is a joke in Houston.
Right. I declared last week I don't see there's any chance the Nationals having a shot with the pitching of the of the Astros on there. But again, yesterday morning, you and I had a conversation, and I said, man, Verlander's got to have a bad couple games in a row coming up here. And that was game 2 where he had a bad start. So not in the World Series, but in the playoffs. But yeah, so that's going on. Obviously, today's an off day, which, of course, we're recording this on a Thursday after game 2. So game 3 is Friday night. Basically, it's a must-win for Houston. All the pressure on that flight up to D.C. is all in Houston's plane. Do they have to pack extra baggage fees when they got on the plane? Do they have to pay extra baggage fees? Because there is so much baggage with Houston right now trying to get on there. Their assistant GM got fired today for you said you didn't even hear this story earlier, right?
No, I did not hear the story earlier.
So Houston's assistant GM, after the I can't believe he actually said this stuff. So Houston Astros assistant GM that basically said some inappropriate comments to some female reporters and said, you didn't hear this story, Jason? I'm just going to go off of what I'm reading here. Quote, a report published earlier this week by Sports Illustrated's Stephanie Epstein said that during the celebration, the Astros clubhouse, after clinching the American League Championship Series on Saturday, the assistant GM, Tobin, whatever, turned to a group of female reporters, including one wearing a purple domestic violence awareness bracelet, and repeatedly yelled, thank God we got Osuna. I'm so fucking glad we got Osuna. You know what the problem with that is? Osuna served a 75-game suspension for violating Major League Baseball's domestic violence policy, stemming from an incident that happened while he was a member of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Okay, did he serve a sentence?
75 games.
So it was done and over with, right?
You don't. The problem is you don't turn to a bunch of female reporters and basically shove it in their face that they got a wife beater.
I don't know. Is it fireable? I don't think so.
You can say that they're inappropriate comments, though, right?
You know who will not be throwing out the first pitch at game if there is a game 5?
The assistant GM.
Donald Trump will not be throwing. He will be in attendance for the game, but the Secret Service will not clear him to throw out the first pitch if there is a game 5 back in Washington.
Their stadium's in the Navy shipyard. You can't secure that well enough, right?
I'm just telling you. I mean, Donald Trump's all excited about going to game 5 if there is one, but will not be able to throw out the first pitch.
Yeah, and they can't. That's what's alarming is they can't clear it because, like I said, National Stadium is in the naval shipyard right there, and you think you could lock that down, right?
And Trump also said that he doesn't want to wear that much armor.
Yeah, they have to wear. I remember when Bush did it when the Diamondbacks was that 2001? He had to wear a flak jacket and everything. So can you imagine? First of all, the pressure to go out there, and then you have all that extra crap on in case somebody does try to take you out, you know? So,
yeah, it was just one of these things I just came across a few minutes ago. So
Interesting. Could you imagine the course of booze that would rain down on him?
God, I could not. He would be better off attending the game in Houston.
Oh my God, I
mean, he at least would have been in the right state, like the right color.
Actually, that's actually an excellent point there. So.
Yeah. They might have been able to secure him in there.
So basically, the Astros are going into this. They have an assistant GM making inappropriate comments to female reporters. And like I said, I mean, on the face of it, those are just bad comments to make when you're a GM to anybody, let alone female reporters. Even you don't shove that into a guy. Okay, you're happy you got him. We get it, but you don't flaunt the fact that the guy served a 75-game ban for domestic violence. But then this is what's going on for Major League Baseball. Then an umpire, well, first of all, an umpire died, right? He just did the playoff thing. I don't remember his name. I apologize to his family. Umpire dies. We still don't know why he died yet. after he does a playoff series. And then longtime umpire Rob Drake comes out. And it's a long, here's what I don't get. It's a long since deleted tweet. But he comes out and basically says, quote, "You can't do an impeachment inquiry from the basement of Capitol Hill with an even vote. What is going on in this country?" Unquote. But that's the nice one of the two that he had there. So he basically goes out there for a second tweet and he says that you can't impeach this president. I'm stocking up on an AR-15. Here, I'll just quote it for you. He planned to buy an AR-15 rifle, quote, "because if you impeach my president this way, you will have another civil war, MAGA 2020. So, and he deleted both of them, and obviously they were found because that's what people do in this world. They find old tweets on people or whatever. But with the middle of the World Series going on, these are what we're talking about with Major League Baseball. And umpires, old tweets, threatening civil war, an assistant GM flaunting domestic violence, players, and how he's so happy they signed him. And the Nationals are up 2-0.
So I really am kind of just wasting my time thinking about Zach Greinke versus Anibal Sanchez on Game 3. I should be real worried about the civil war that's coming.
Well, here's the other thing. My whole point leading to this is Major League Baseball is struggling right now, and Game 1 is the second lowest viewership ever for a Game 1. It barely beat a 2014 Game 1 matchup World Series, which I don't even know who was in that. I don't really care. The bigger point is that you have a big market in the Nationals. You have a pretty big market in Houston, and Game 1's ratings are the lowest, second lowest ever. And Game 2, just preliminary numbers came out for Game 2 last night, and they aren't going to be any better. They're going to be just as low as Game 1, if not worse. So you have all this stuff going on around Major League Baseball when they should be culminating, celebrating their sport with the World Series victory. And these are the headlines coming across all the paper. When I sat down to do the research into these two games, these are the headlines that came up when I did the research. It's not me searching them out. They came up before any game stuff came up.
Just for clarification, it was the Giants versus the Royals in 2014.
That's right. I knew it was the Royals. I wasn't sure who they played.
So I'm going to give San Francisco a larger TV market than Washington and Houston.
Really? More than Houston?
Maybe
Houston's
not
got to
Houston,
be.
but more than Houston, more than Washington.
I agree. My problem.
You got that Washington. You got the split between Baltimore.
That's the problem with. See, I include Baltimore. Like, if you're a Baltimore fan, aren't you kind of rooting for the Nationals right now? Because
But is there that hate? Is there?
You live an hour away.
Right, but is there that like rival? Is there the booing of the Clippers?
No, because it's National League's American League. I wouldn't assume, but that's why I think when I think of DC, I think of Baltimore fans would root for the Nationals. I think even to a certain extent, like maybe Mets fans, because that's farther away. That's farther away. But I mean, Baltimore's an hour away from DC. It's literally a freeway exit from DC. And so I think it's a bigger market because I include those. I know TV doesn't, but I include those bigger areas. And then you can go out into Virginia and, big states there. You start getting into, Pittsburgh areas and Philly. Philly's an hour and a half from Manhattan, which is right in that area. So I think of it as a big an area just because they're so close everywhere. But it is tended to be a smaller TV market.
I just feel that I just don't see the Nationals having that fan base, and baseball is one of those sports where it's like once your team's out, you
stop
don't
watching
really care.
it. Yeah, unless you're a diehard fan,
right? But it's not like football where you're watching the playoffs no matter who's in it. You're watching the Super Bowl, the World Series. It turns into background noise.
I've always said baseball is one of those sports where when your team that you root for is good, you are into baseball. You are following everything. When your team is out of it and sucks, you pay attention, but you don't follow it as closely. You know wins and losses, but that's it. And that's what we're seeing here. And it certainly doesn't help that these are the headlines that are coming out, afterwards, because we had some other headlines that broke today. So obviously last week we talked about Joe Madden signing with the Angels. Go Joe.
Go Joe.
And then today,
And Joe we trust.
Joe Girardi goes to the Phillies.
We called that the last week too.
Yes, but I think that's a stellar move for the Phillies.
That is a smart baseball move.
All the stuff I'm reading, though, this afternoon, because it was announced this morning. It's not officially. I don't know if they officially announced it, but it came out. He's signing to the Phillies. And everything I'm reading today is how rough Joe Girardi is around the edges and that he'll fit in Philly, but he's got to be careful because he has to learn from his Yankee mistakes on rubbing the players the wrong way. And I'm like, I never heard that. Did you?
No, I've never heard that. And you know what? The players have to adjust to Joe Girardi's style. Joe Girardi's the manager. It's his team. The players need to adjust. Joe doesn't need to adjust. They need to adjust to Joe.
The Phillies are young enough that I think this is the smartest move he could have made.
Oh, I agree. I am a huge Girardi fan as a manager.
So players being what they are, do you think this I think definitely one of the hiccups with the Phillies last year was their manager. So you think this will improve them to be towards the playoffs instead of finishing 4th or 5th in that division? Because that's a tough division.
I think that they need to secure some pitching, to go forward in this for them. But I also think that Joe Girardi makes a huge difference for this team. I think he puts you in a contendership because he's going to get more out of those players just based on his resume and what has been able to do in this game than the prior regime.
I agree with that, like 100%. So I expect the Phillies, and then the Phillies just didn't hit this year either. That's the other thing we got to be cognizant of here. I mean, Bryce Harper had a horrible year. The other bats were just silent around him, which of course doesn't help Bryce Harper. So that's exciting news. But then this news shook Major League Baseball today, and hopefully you guys catch on to my sarcasm there. With the Padres are expected to sign Joyce Tingler as their manager.
And I think my response to that was, who?
Exactly.
Who?
He played some minor league baseball for some years. I think I read he's coaching in the Mexican League right now. Nobody knows. Nobody cares. But if you were Manny Machado right now, how would you be feeling?
Well, but my question is he related to Manny Machado? And that's how he got the job. I mean, the White Sox went ahead and signed all his friends and relatives last year, so maybe this is just a leftover.
That's right. I forgot about that. I completely forgot about that move. Yes, maybe it's his long lost uncle. I didn't even think about that.
See, there's a different, 23andMe. They should order some
23.
They should order some tests, and you never know what comes back at this point. Because I can't think of another reason.
But here's the thing that shocked me when I was looking into him: 38 years old. No managerial experience other than minor leagues, and 38 years old.
Seems to be a trend of younger, no experienced players. It's like it seems like you're going one of two ways. You are going old school, Joe Madden, and then there's no in-betweens anymore. There's no third-time hires. There's no Ozzie Guillen doesn't have a job. You know what I mean?
I'm
things
fine,
like that.
I'm fine with that. Right? Give a guy his first chance. And at least this guy has minor league experience. Because the guy that it's aching just chomping at the bit to get to is the Cubs say they're going to sign David Ross as their manager with zero coaching experience. His last role was a catcher for the 2016 World Champion Cubs team. Got the year right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a year of misery.
And, yeah.
Okay. Grandpa Rossi. You know what happens when you go to Grandpa's house?
You get candy?
You get candy, but you have no control. And that's going to be that Chicago Cubs clubhouse come this year. This is asinine. You take one of the best managers in the history of baseball. You show him the door, and you bring in Grandpa Rossi, 3 years removed, or going on to his 4th year removed, from being an active MLB player on that same team. Now, I am no Chicago Cub expert, fan, anything, but I am going to say that at least half the roster from 2016 remains. And
if not more.
And this guy is going to be the manager now. So that's like taking one of your buddies and saying, hey, let's start a company, and you're the boss now. But we're still friends, right? And I'm going to pull you out of the game. What's the first time that he goes out to the mound and goes to Jake Arrieta that's pitched well, but Grandpa thinks he's got a feeling.
Yeah,
in his stomach.
he's got to do a double switch or something, right?
Something like that, and does that move. Mm-hmm. There is no way that this works. I don't understand. You had Joe Girardi. You had him out there. You interviewed the man for 8 hours. You spent 8 hours with Joe Girardi to pick his brain, and you go ahead and fire Grandpa Rossi because he did good in a fake press conference, in a fake team meeting? Come on.
What you're alluding to there is, and that's what I'm going to bring up, is they brought him in. I know you're a White Sox fan. That's what's even funnier. They bring him in for spring training, and they tell him to do a speech for the team, and he does it. And that's one reason why he gets this job, is because he was so impressive in his spring training speech that they were like, wow.
Well, they also...
Hey, you're forgetting one thing really quick. Dancing with the Stars alum. Don't discount David Ross and the Cubs here for signing manager thing. I don't think he did.
Okay, well then if you didn't win, you don't get to put it on your resume.
Oh.
That's a rule. I just made it up. Anyway, getting back to, but what they did do, the Cubs brought him back, and I am drawing a blank on the second guy they brought back.
Yeah, I forgot too, yeah.
And what pushed him over the edge was the fake news conference. They didn't even put him in front of the real Chicago media.
I know. Yeah.
They put him in front of office guys with questions, and he nailed that. Well, give me my Madden controller because I'm about ready to take over a franchise because I can nail some stuff too.
I'm going out on a limb here, but
Welcome to third place, Cubs, and that's where you're going to stay.
Oh, my God, right?
Thank you, by the way.
So, my impression, I'm not as impassioned about the David Ross hire, and I have no interest in either team, but I think it's utterly ridiculous. And I don't know anything about Joyce Tingler in the Padres. You know what that tells me? Analytics is running the show on those two organizations. They're not going to be making any decisions. All their decisions are going to come from a piece of paper from the what's that? You got the dugout, then you got the walkway back. Some little kid, somebody's going to hand a kid a paper. The kid's going to run the paper out to the dugout, hand it to the manager, and then that's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen.
We have all this nice stuff here in the main event studios. There should be just a puppet because now that's what Grandpa Rossi is he is Jed and Theo's little puppet.
Yeah, that's all both those moves tell me is.
Hey, Ronnie,
and
tell Grandpa to make a pitch change. Okay.
Yeah, they wanted nobody that thinks for themselves. They want somebody cheap. I bet you both contracts are low for both Ross and for Tingler in the Padres. And if I'm saying his name wrong, I'm sorry, but I don't know who you are. So, I'm willing to bet you they're cheap, on the cheap. And that's what all it tells me is both organizations went, okay, we're going to, run analytics and we're going to tell people what to do, which is what the Dodgers do with Dave Roberts. And Dave Roberts isn't making a ton of money as a manager right now.
No, for me, I'd love to take a shot at the Cubs any chance I get. They're not a cheap organization. So them just pulling the puppet, but this is definitely a puppet play.
Yeah.
This is definitely, and it's going to blow up in your face because you cannot run. That's just like, okay, well, I'm going to go play MLB The Show, and I'll tell you how this play is going to play out because that's basically what you're doing.
Well, especially because Milwaukee's going to still be Milwaukee next year, right? They're going to be what they always are, which is playoff contenders.
St. Louis isn't going anywhere.
Yeah, they're not going to go anywhere. They're playoff contenders. And so the only thing changing for the Cubs for the most part, they are going to get rid of a couple high-priced guys this year, I think. They're going to let them go. and eat those contracts and play some younger guys?
I don't think they're going to. I think they're
You
going
don't
to
think?
I think they're going to give Ross the chance to
Yeah.
play with this team.
That's true.
But I'll tell you what, if they're struggling at the deadline, they will blow
Unload.
this thing sky high.
It's definitely a case of Theo thinking he's smarter than everybody. He's always had that problem.
I don't know if you ever saw it when they hired Theo. The Chicago Sun-Times had an image of Theo walking on water.
Oh, hell.
It was ridiculous. Like, this man can do no wrong. And, when he came to the Cubs, he said that, every 10 years it's time for a change.
Yeah.
Well, guess what, Jet? Or guess what?
We're at 10 years.
Theo, you are on your you got to be close to your 10th year. And how many managers do you get? I mean, really? I mean, how many managers do you get? This is
It's his third.
No, I think it's his fourth because they had Dale, they had Ricky.
Oh, I forgot about Ricky.
They had Ricky.
Yeah.
How could you forget about Ricky?
I forgot about him.
Joe, because I'm still hoping in 2 years that Joe Madden ends up
I know,
manager of
the White Sox. He's getting up there in age, man. I mean,
we got a short window here.
We're running out of time for Madden to get to the White Sox. But
But that's 4 managers. How many executives do you actually see get 4 managers?
No, rarely. But Theo's not a general manager. He's a president. He's running.
Jed's right there next to him.
They're running the show.
They're the two-headed monster.
Yeah, Theo's running the show there, and he's more than just a GM. He's pretty much just running the team. The Ricketts family has been like, here you go, and they're. My thing about Theo is astute businessman. As much as I don't like the moves that he makes, but when they were bringing back the player that beat his wife or whatever, they brought him back too early, and they faked. I still contend it's a fake when they faked that all racial controversy to distract from that.
The whole.
I think it's absolutely genius business move because it's like, okay, let's take the pressure off the team. Let's concoct this fake thing. Like I'm convinced that you haven't heard from that guy yet. Normally, you hear from those fans that get caught like that. They come out, they post something on social media, and the media find you haven't heard from that guy. That guy was a plant. That guy was a plant by the Cubs to distract from the fact they were bringing that guy back, and then they end up benching him and putting him down because he sucks.
My last thought on Theo is he a great builder to a championship? Just taking what he did with the farm system, reinventing it for the Cubs, getting him to the World Series, but can he sustain it? Because if you look what he did in Boston after they won the World Series, it was 2 steps back.
Well, that's the thing. He can get you to the level, and then it's the same problem you have with Joe Madden is, year 3, the players started toning him out because he makes all those moves, and the players, once you win a World Series or get to a World Series, the players all of a sudden think they're smarter than they are. Leading up to the World Series, they're willing to do whatever it takes. And then once they get a ring, they're like, oh, I know how to do this better than you.
Some of these players got them like their first year and stuff.
Yeah, they were super young. And that's the thing with it. So that's what I'm interested in seeing. I mean, the Cubs need an organizational shakeup in terms of players. There's no doubt about it. They have talent, but they also have talent that they should not be paying to be there.
I'm very close to reaching my limit of Cub talk before I start breaking out in highs.
So let's move on. So that's Major League Baseball. We spoke way too long about Major League Baseball, but for some reason there's all this controversy going on. So Game 3 and 4. Gosh, this series might be wrapped up before we record next week again. So congratulations to the Nationals World Series championship. Let's get ahead of that.
That's from Steve. I'm not ready to go out on that limb yet.
Well, last week I declared that I don't see Houston losing this series because of their pitching. Like, no way it's going to happen, and then it's in the middle of it. So
we're gonna flip flop.
I'm gonna go on a big limb on that one too. So then moving on, we're gonna go let's go into college football here. We have a little bit of NBA talk today, which is rare for us here this time of year. But college football is what it is. You got some big upsets last week. You're fighting Illini.
Well, I've had to disown Chicago's Big Ten team, so now I'm going to take Chicago. I'm going to take the southern part of the state and look for a win anywhere I can.
Yeah, I was going to say. Last week, now you're a Illini fan until they play this week and get slaughtered by 40 again. and then you'll be off that bandwagon again.
Right, and then I'm going to jump back to go Cats.
But I've always liked Lovie Smith as a coach, but you just can't win in Champaign, Illinois, because who the heck wants to go play in Champaign, Illinois?
They just spent millions and millions to upgrade the facility.
So it's cold. It's awful. It's cold.
It's cold.
It's awful.
I'm gonna go. It's cold, and
you've been
if it's not game day, it's awful.
You've been to Champaign.
Yeah.
It is that one of those places you drive through as quick as possible.
We'll see. For me, like it was Jack in the Box was in Champaign, so it was worth the stoppage.
So you had to go there. Yes. One of those.
But have you seen a picture of Lovely lately? Though he's sporting that beard. That
dude,
he is rocking the beard.
He's had it for 2 or 3 years. You just don't know it because nobody talks about Illinois football, right?
But
he's had it for a couple years.
That win might have saved him his job. Because he did sign the extension last year.
I was reading going into last weekend's game how they think that this is going to be his last year there, and he's going to get blown out because they're regressing and everything. And I mean, let's be honest, that win came out of nowhere.
No one would.
I think even Lovey was like, "What the hell just happened?"
Right. Lovey goes back into the tunnel and he's like, "Did that really just happen?"
I read a funny tweet where it's like Lovey goes back in the locker room, shaves his beard, gets cleaned up, walks out, and he's like, "Hey guys, what's been going on?" Like he's just a totally different man as he comes out.
He's all regenerized and stuff. He's like, "Let's go."
It was one of the funniest things I read all weekend on it.
That's awesome.
And if you know Lovie Smith, if you remember him from his Tampa, he has no personality whatsoever. Like on camera, at least, no personality. I don't know about behind the scenes.
Rex is our quarterback.
But the only like newsworthy other than like a few upsets, which have been few and far between. I mean, ASU got their ass handed to them by Utah last week. We all picked Utah. I mean, we all picked ASU. Cold, windy, rainy game. Look, we live in Phoenix. It doesn't rain here. It's not cold here. Tough game to play. They must have 3 points. Stuff like that.
Yeah, I was waiting for the rain to clean my car, and it just
I know. I know. Adam comes home and he's like, "When's it rain here, man? My car needs a wash." And I was like, "I don't know, January." You got 3 months still.
I went to the car wash.
So, like, what do you? So, an ASU safety gets kicked out of the game for targeting, and the guy lowered his. It's the typical guy lowers his head, he targets him, whatever. It was targeting by the rules of college football. Fine, whatever. The guy leaves. A fan gets on the internet and DMs this player and says, quote, "You piece of shit. Go fuck yourself and die for targeting Zach Moss. You were pissed for getting ejected, but you should have been pissed for being such a worthless piece of shit."
Was that from his mom?
Yeah, I know, right? A guy named AJ. I have his handle. At AJ Pro 82.
Right.
But
AJ, you're a little too angry about
Utah football, right?
Utah football. You're a little too angry.
Oh,
there.
you meant is it Zach Moss's mom?
Yeah, it's Zach Moss's mom. But like, if you're a little too angry about Utah football, this whole targeting, going back to last year's bowl games when we saw so many of these calls, and it was just like, it was where I don't like it. I don't like the getting kicked out of the game. I think it gives way too much credence, way too much power to the officials as far as
especially how bad officials are.
You know what I mean? And these officials can't even get past interference calls right. And and holding calls right, and we're going to let them determine whether a player plays the rest of the game.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
It's one of these things where, okay, if the NCAA wants to review that play for the following week, and that player is deemed that it was targeting, okay, you know what? Suspend him for the next game, because at least it's been reviewed, it's been looked at, it's been dissected. And stuff like that. But to do it instantly, to give that referee that much power, is asinine.
They do review it, but yeah, I know what you're saying.
But it's not a whole review of like, it's not like you, me, like a 3-panel person looking at this.
Yeah, no, I hate the target. I hate the targeting in pro football. I hate it in college football because
I think it bothers me more in college.
Yeah, because there's no ifs, ands, or buts. In pro, they look at it and they can reverse it or whatever. In college, they can too, but they generally don't because they want to err on the side of whatever. But what effing lowlife gets on to Twitter or whatever, it was Twitter, and DM somebody that comment after a play like that, regardless whether he did it or not, what low-life fan gets on there like,
what player has their DMs open? They can get through some random
you
fan can get open too.
You got to get the ladies, man.
That's true. Pop in my DM, baby.
He does. He does respond, by the way, before he blocks him, and he goes, "I'll be sure to let everybody know how you really feel about me." And then he posted it. That's how we all know about it. So I mean, Utah's obviously pissed off about it because they came out. The Utah AD came out and said they strongly condemn the behavior of the individual. Blah blah blah. You know, it's not part of Utah football. Blah blah blah. You know. We've already begun to look into the identity
were very upset with him.
Of the individual. Make your comments too. Adam Michaels 05.
I'll take him one and all.
But I mean, I know that's an ASU story, but I was literally searching the internet for any interesting college football story this week, and there are like none out there. And I saw that, and I'm just like I'm not an impassioned sports fan by any means. Like, I watch something and I'm like, it's over, you know, and I move on with my life. But I could never imagine, like, I could say something at the game, you know, like, that was the worst thing ever to happen. Yeah, it was egregious, whatever. But to actually sit down and type a DM that somebody should die over it, it just drives me batty. Like, you know, I don't know what should happen to this kid, but I feel like he should die.
I'm sorry, I'm DMing a couple people right now.
That's what I was gonna say. Who you're sending this to?
At Mitch.
Oh yeah, right.
I'll be back to this later, but
Trubisky reference.
I was just sending him a hate.
Could
you imagine if he would redo this and this happened to me? I would have like 50 followers by the time it was done.
You have a lot of haters too, because this guy is not getting any love in the Twitter sphere right now from anybody. I didn't even see it from any of the ASU people I follow or Utah people I follow. I got it from a national guy like back east somewhere, following the Pac-12 apparently, which is weird by its own thing there. So
I just figured out there was a Pac-12 over a couple weeks ago.
I know, right? Welcome to Pac-12 country, the only place we're known, right? So really quick, we'll go through this week's picks here in a bit. But last week, you, me, and Jason all had ASU over Utah. Oops. We all had Alabama over Tennessee. I declared Tennessee, Alabama would clear the spread at halftime, and they didn't. It was a close game at halftime.
At the half.
And then it became not a close game after the half. We all had Oregon over Washington. We all had Penn State over Michigan, and we all had Florida over South Carolina. So we all went 4-1 last week.
That was very respectable.
That was impressive for some of us. So on there, yeah. So you're starting off profile. We're going off percentages, by the way, so it doesn't matter if you for the rest of the season. So it doesn't matter if
so I don't have to try and
pick
up 80 games.
Yeah. We're not going to give you extra games to pick, so it's all percentage wise. So, so really quick NBA talk since NBA kicked off this week. I know like we don't cover it much this time of year because of obviously other stuff going on. So the regular. Interesting thing, we talked about the China thing. I don't remember if that was last week with you or a couple weeks ago with Jason, but the whole China NBA thing, the regular season tipped off, and China did not air any of the games at all. So China's still pissed off and withholding money from the NBA.
Well, what I think should happen is President Trump should get on Twitter and fix this immediately.
So, well, I mean, if you want to go into that angle, Mike Pence came out and totally smashed the NBA for giving in to China and pulling all Rockets gear from China and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's crept in the. My thing with politics is unless you're in politics, stay out of politics because politicians are better at politics than you are. So the NBA stepped in this big time because they stepped into a political place where the politicians are better at it than you are.
Okay, the only time we should worry about China in basketball is when it's the Olympics. Other than that, I don't care.
Billions of dollars.
I don't care. There's billions of dollars here for the NBA.
Yeah,
and
China.
You can go play in Mexico City if you need to.
Yeah, China's 1/5 of the NBA revenues last year. 1/5. That's really not that much if you think about it.
If you break it down, I mean,
Yeah, no, but that's a whole nother. China was a whole nother deal. I just found it interesting that China didn't air any of the games because that hurts China's economies too.
yeah,
NBA is worth billions to the Chinese economy as well. So, but more importantly, the Clippers get a home game against the Lakers. They had to go all the way to the other locker room, and this other side of the stadium.
Far walk.
And Kawhi Leonard goes out and gives a speech because it's a Clippers home game and gets booed by the Lakers fans, which was hilarious. To which you were there today when I announced it. I said, don't worry, Kawhi, all those Lakers fans will be Clippers fans when you guys go farther in the playoffs this year.
So they share the stadium. Who has the hardest job? Is it like the locker room attendants when the Lakers and the Clippers play and they got to switch everything
No,
around?
they have
does
their
that work?
they stay in the same locker room
They just
regardless.
stay- okay.
Yeah, these new arenas. Back then, it used to be they switch, but now no. The Clippers have their locker room, so even if they're away, they stay in their locker room.
Is it the same like at MetLife with the Giants?
I-
and Jets?
I would-
I'm
I
just
would
curious, You know what I
assume.
mean? Like I was just like curious.
That I don't know. I would assume, but I know Staples Center that they have their own locker room, and then there's a visiting locker room that's
So there's
separate.
total 3 locker rooms.
That's like the Coyotes arena has like 6 locker rooms.
Right. Okay.
You have the home one, then you have a visitor one, and then you
Right.
have like supplemental ones for like ice capades or whatever. They don't
Okay.
go in the NHL ones. So yeah, there's a bunch of locker rooms now in most new stadiums. So yeah, they don't. Could you imagine the Clippers have to go in the Lakers locker room?
There's a poor guy that's like trying to get the sign off the wall. Come on! I got to
Yeah,
get
right.
leveled in the other room.
And the way the floors go down now, they're just giant pieces, so it's switch out in a matter of an hour, I'm sure, or less than,
It's just
type of a thing.
cracks me up.
I know, right?
Just
imagine
things that I think of. I'm sorry.
that would be funny. Like they're walking in, and the guy's like, "Oh, like some
He
guys."
missed one sign.
Yeah, some guy's standing there, and the team's walking in. He's like running over with a sheet, trying to hide Lakers
Right.
on there.
The one guy that missed the one sign.
Or he puts all
Robert,
the
we're gonna have to let you go. You missed the sign.
He puts all the Lakers players in the Clippers locker room, put on the name boards and everything. Like, dang it, don't. So yeah, and then the Lakers end up losing the opening night. LeBron and AD's first night, and they end up losing. And man, Kawhi Leonard's the best player in the NBA right now. I don't care what you people say. He is on fire. The Suns, at the local news, the Phoenix Suns actually. Everybody's expecting them to win like 20 games this year, and they actually dominated the Kings last night and looked very impressive in doing so, which means they won't win again for like 3 months. But
I got him winning 23.
do you?
Yeah, it's just a number I pulled out.
Over
I like number 23.
under in Vegas started at 29.5, and it dropped to 28.5. I think that's where it closed as of opening night. I don't know, but that seems like a lot to me too, because they're not going to be very good.
But you get to see a lot of good teams come to town.
That's the problem. They're not going to be good, not because of necessarily of talent, but just because of their geographical.
You're in the West.
Unfortunately, you're in the West.
If you're in the East, you
Yeah.
might be a playoff team.
Right? So that's their problem, is they're running into just where you're located right now. So, but the big news in NBA deals is Michael Jordan rarely does interviews. And he goes on the Today Show, and he says, Steph Curry, quote, is not a Hall of Famer, unquote.
All right.
What are your thoughts?
I have 2 thoughts on this, actually. All right. First of all, he's Michael Jeffrey Jordan, and he can say whatever he wants to say. He's got 6 rings. He had his own tequila with him, bottled tequila. If you hear the audio only, it sounds serious.
It
You
sounds
see the-
awful. Yeah.
You see the video, there's a smile, there's a wink, so like he was busting balls. And that's what Michael's done since he came into the league. Greatest player of all time, worst general manager, president of all time, probably. But, I think it was more like just like busting the balls.
Well, he doesn't think anybody's a Hall of Famer unless they're better than him, which means nobody's a Hall of Famer.
Well, there is nobody.
But if you watch the whole interview, like I saw the headlines, I saw all that stuff, and I was like, it's just Jordan being, Jordan's pompous
Jordan being
self,
Jordan.
good for him, whatever. But then you actually watch it, and I think,
do you think he was serious?
no, I think he was actually saying, like Steph Curry's not a Hall of Famer right now, meaning like he's still playing, so he's not a Hall of Famer. Not even taking into account 5 years after he retires, he was just like, why even discuss it? He's not a Hall of Famer now because he's still playing. That's kind of how I took it.
That's a different take. I never really thought of it that way. I just kind of thought of it as, like him just being Michael.
Yeah, it was just weird. But they weren't even talking about it. They were talking about his tequila or whatever.
Right.
And then just out of nowhere, he's like, yeah, Steph Curry's not a Hall of Famer. What?
Well, it was just like, he's Michael Jordan. He gets a pass no matter what.
Well, I mean, I pass or not. I mean, either way you look at it, I mean, you're right. He is Michael Jordan. And he's got his opinions, and like I said, he's the guy that did his Hall of Fame speech and roasted players from his podium and talking about how he used to beat them all the time, and they tried so hard to catch him and everything. And
we let Skip talk every day.
God dang it! You know what? If you're the number one player in the world, the reason why he is considered the number one player in the world. Sorry, LeBron, and your LeBron apologist. Michael Jordan is the best player ever, and the reason why is because he has that attitude.
Yep, and there's nobody's going to take that from him no matter what. It hasn't transcomposed to the front office at all. I mean, because that's a terrible Charlotte team.
But how much of that is his doing, though? I mean, he's got salary caps, he's got structures, he has other. Is he hands-on picking players? Is he just letting his basketball people do it? There's a lot. He's not majority owner. Yeah, gosh, I think he's selling majority of the team now, isn't he?
Yeah, I know he's still president of basketball
but
operations.
I mean, when you're a basketball player, it was him and 4 other guys on the court. He could control it. He had the ball in his hands, stuff like that. When you're an owner or general manager, there's so many other factors involved on there that, Yeah, I mean, does it translate? No, it didn't translate for Magic either.
I think Larry probably had the most success out of anybody.
Yeah, but even then he got
right. But if you really think about all the players that have won,
yeah, you're right.
John Paxson had no success
for that Chicago, right?
Yeah, so it's just like
Steve Kerr has done well, but again, how much say did he have in it at the beginning? So yeah, I mean, I tend to give him a pass on the front office stuff because you're getting into a lot of other issues when you get in. It's not just Michael Jordan sitting on top making decisions. There's 50 other people in it, making decisions also and stuff like that.
He's not Theo. He's not pulling the strings all over.
Hopefully. Well, let me rephrase that. Maybe he is, and maybe that's why they're so bad. I don't know. But
he's still Michael Jeffrey Jordan.
But you got to remember the NBA also, the type of league it is superstars determine where they want to go, and nobody wants to play in Charlotte.
Nobody wants to play in Chicago either, just so you know.
No, it's too cold. They want to go to Dwayne Wade, who's from Chicago, didn't even want to play in Chicago.
And when he didn't want to.
Yeah, he signed there, get the money and be like, oh, I'm coming home. And then he was like, can I get out of here?
I'm coming home. It's 8 years too late, but I'm coming home.
Right. It's like, so it's.
And the Bulls signed him.
It's just one of those things where it's just the NBA right now. So he's never going to get a huge superstar there unless he drafts them, And what about, oh my God, we didn't even talk about that really quick. What about Zion Williamson, the next great thing out, 6 to 8 or 3 months or whatever for a torn meniscus?
Yep. And we've seen basketball players that is not. You look at
he had a knee problem in high school, a knee problem in college, and now a knee problem in the pros without even playing a game yet.
I go back to Chicago basketball because I'm not the greatest NBA, but if you even go back to Derrick Rose with his first one, and then after the second one, he was never the same. Even after the first one, he was never the same.
So remember how big and giant LeBron was coming into the league back in 2003?
Yeah.
Zion is taller, bigger, weight-wise, stout-wise, than LeBron was. And he's already having knee problems. Doesn't mean he's not going to be a great player, but the first thing to go, you can play with bad knees. Derrick Rose has proven that. He's still in the league. At least he was last year. You can play with bad knees, but what you lose is your explosiveness and your hops. And that's his game right now. He's got to learn to shoot.
He's going to have to learn a whole different game when he comes back from this injury.
He might be like the Tiger Woods of golf, where Tiger got so big and everything that he had those back problems because he would swing really hard and launch the ball. He might have that same problem. He's going to have to learn to not dunk it over 4 guys. It's spectacular to watch, and that's his game, but you need to learn not to do that stuff, So we'll see when he comes back, but that's huge news for rookies. I was seeing today that everybody was like, oh, he's still going to win Rookie of the Year when he comes back. And I'm like, what? Let's let the guy come back first. Yeah. At least he won't blow out a Nike.
Don't put his name on the trophy quite yet.
Right? Don't etch it in there. And then on to NFL news.
Dun, 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 dun.
How do you feel? So Monday Night Football, the Patriots play the Jets. Well, let me put it this way. The Patriots showed up, went on the field. I don't think anybody touched any of the Patriot players. I don't think the Jets showed up. Did they ever show up to that game? I don't even know. But
well, they showed up to throw infield practice to the defenders.
Right.
Sam Donald.
It was a drill for the Patriots.
It was
secondary.
an interception in a ball drill for them.
What do you feel? So Sam Darnold was mic'd up for the game, and he says the following, quote, I'm seeing ghosts, after like his 3rd interception or something ridiculous like that. ABC or ESPN plays the clip, and then he's just getting mocked by everybody at that. What do you feel about that?
Where's he seeing? You know what I mean? Like, is it? I come across 2 thoughts. Is it being sarcastic? Like I'm seeing ghosts? Like,
no, he was not sarcastic.
So he shouldn't have been playing in the game after that.
We watched that, and I told you, you went out to the grill when they came in, but I mean, at the end of the halftime, Adam Gase was talking to him and was like, look, man, like, it's not going in our favor, but we need to have a good drive here. We get the ball in the second half. Like, he was talking to him like a human. But, I mean, you don't need Sam Darnold to tell us that he's seeing ghosts out there to know that he was lost. He had no clue. And Adam Gase does not let – I've picked this game apart because I'm trying to find ways to fire Adam Gase. I'm not even a Jets fan, and I just can't stand the guy.
Now, see, like, for me, like – when he was the offensive coordinator for the Bears, loved Adam Gase. Like if they could have hired him over John Fox.
Okay, but that's where I'm going to here, right? So he was a solid offense coordinator. Sam Darnold dropped back, and he would be looking 5-10 yards down the field, but he'd have a player in his face. Like, there's no check off to Le'Veon Bell. There's no short screenplay. None of those plays were called at all during the night. And he just left Sam Darnold out there to basically, and I agree, Sam Darnold should have been out of the game in the 3rd quarter because he had, and it's not, I'm not blaming Sam Darnold. He's a good quarterback. He was going up against a defensive guru in the Patriots who just eats up young quarterbacks and spits them out.
You know what I got out of that game? What the most telling thing for me was it's 24-0. They pan to the sideline, and Bill Belichick has his whole defense there. And he is coaching them up like they are in the dogfight of their life.
He was yelling at them at one point.
And they are up 24-0.
With like 4 picks and yeah.
Like just one of those things where it's like no other coach in the NFL would even be over it there at that point. But he had that whole I was in awe. I was just like, that is a football coach right there.
Well,
say what you want.
I think we all know that, right? I fall on the side, as much as I hate the Patriots, I fall on the side of it's not Brady making the Patriots what they are. It's Belichick. And when Belichick goes, you're going to see it because the Patriots are going to look like they've never played football before.
I would agree with you 100%.
He is holding them on with whatever magic glue he's got.
He's got some dust.
The second he steps away, you're just going to see the Patriots look like they've never seen a football before in their lives.
My visual, though, is Tom Brady and Bill Belichick just skipping out together, holding locked in arms and just skipping away together.
That was the talk this week. I mean, Schefter came out and said odds are Brady's going to play for another team next week. And I told you, after looking at all the evidence, I think he's retiring. Now, he's not going to go play for somebody else. He's going to retire because he sold his house. His trainer sold his house. Giselle and the kids aren't living in New England anymore. All this stuff leads to he's done after this year. In his press conference last week when he was asked about it, he was retrospective of his career. And once football players are like, when old people are about to die, they start talking about people in their past, and they start talking about how they see them again and stuff like that. football players are like that in terms of when they're getting ready to retire. Like Gronk last year, if you look at all Gronk's interviews last year, he talked all about what he's done for his career and all of that stuff. It was all about his career, what he's done in the past, blah, blah, blah. And then he retires. So that's the way I'm leaning on that Schefter story.
I'm kind of leaning that if Brady goes, Belichick goes at the same time. Just looking, he re-upped for 2 years, so he's got one.
Doesn't matter. Yeah, none of that matters.
I could see them going out together. I could see them winning the Super Bowl and going out together.
If they win the Super Bowl, I can guarantee you Brady's
saying.
retiring. I mean, pretty much mark it at this point. That'd be 7. My problem with the Patriots is, and I know it's a hot story because people are like, my big thing on the Cowboys is, they beat the good teams. They beat the bad teams. They lose to the good teams. They haven't played anybody, blah, blah, blah. Man, the thing that drives me nuts every year about the Patriots is they play nobody. They are guaranteed 5 wins just from their division every year if they show up, which they usually lost to Adam Gase's Dolphins, ironically enough. And so they're guaranteed. If they get to 10 wins this year, they take over the lead for most consecutive 10-win seasons with I think it's 17 or 18 in a row.
Unbelievable.
But the thing that makes me irritated is so you say things like, well, they haven't played anybody yet. They're guaranteed 7-8 wins just from the week schedule that they play, right? But then they always beat the good teams when they play them. And so it's like there goes that argument out the window.
They beat the teams on the schedule,
Like then they go up and then they went up against like the Peyton Manning Colts and it was like, oh, here's the test and this is where they're going to lose. And then they win that game and you're like, what the heck is going on? So on there. So, after, speaking of the Jets, after 3 doctors say he needs shoulder surgery because his labrum is separated from his bone, the Jets insurance company approves the surgery, but the Jets told their offensive guard, and I'm going to butcher this name, so I apologize, Kalichi Osemele, to shut up, take meds, and go play, and he needs to have shoulder surgery. How do you feel about that?
I feel that it's the player's health. The team needs to let him handle his health. That I don't even need 3 doctors. You get a doctor.
Independent doctors, by
right.
the way. Yeah.
You know what? If your doctor says you need it, let him go get it. If he wants it and he's in that much pain, go get it. The team should not have control over his medical decision.
Yeah, so he came out this week and they were interviewing him because he's getting fined every day because he's not practicing. So they're finding him on top of every day.
That collective bargaining agreement is so
well,
terrible.
the NFLPA is going to obviously fight for him and get some of this back. Like, this cannot be acceptable.
You can't walk away from this.
This cannot be acceptable at all, right? But, I mean, he came out this week and he flat out said that he had the injury before the season began, chose not to do surgery to see if it would get better. It hasn't gotten better. They shoot him up with cortisone or whatever, the big needle in his shoulder, but that stopped working last week. And now he still feels it when the game starts. So this is a huge offensive lineman who needs his shoulders. But just goes more to the point of like...
And they're the Jets. It's not going to make a difference.
That's my point. Anybody else in the league, would see through the process. Doesn't mean that other people wouldn't be like, look, just play with it. Just play with it. Saying it's one thing. But when you have all these doctors people, your own insurance company, everybody's saying you need surgery, and then you're going, nope. I don't want it. My point on this is I always rail on how the NFL is all about player safety, and they keep showing us reasons why they're not about player safety. If anything, the NFL needs to step in on this and be like, we've looked at the evidence. He wants to have shoulder surgery. It's his decision. He wants to have shoulder surgery, fine. Because you know damn well as I do, he goes out there and gets hurt, and he can't come back next year, and he has to sit out next year because something else worsens up. You know damn well as I do that the Jets will cut him in 2 seconds.
Yep, and they will not pay him out.
Yeah.
So it's one of these things where I just don't believe that the league, or not even the league, the team has any business telling a player how to handle his medical.
It happens every day, but not. I don't think to this extent. Like if you have a bum knee, the team doctors and the team are basically like sugarcoating it, like, oh, well, shoot it up, you'll feel fine. You won't damage it more or whatever. They do that all the time.
Kyle Long wanted to play in the Bears, put him on IR.
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, that happens too, where they're like, nope, not at all.
We're not doing this.
Yeah. So it's just, I mean, your point is that the Jets, so that's why the Jets are what they are. but it just looks so bad for the NFL and the Jets just for this to be coming out. And like you said, you're the Jet. You're not going anywhere. Don't you want the guy healthy for next year?
Right.
This guy's an all-pro. Go get him under surgery now. Have him ready going into next season. You're not going anywhere this year anyway. Have him come back next year.
Let him rehab. Let him do his thing.
Who's gonna sign with the Jets, knowing that if they get injured bad enough, it's one thing if like doctors were like, look, it's not that bad. You can play with it.
If it was turf toe or
yeah,
something,
yeah, exactly.
I mean, like,
hey, Neil, and he's like, I'm
turf
out.
toe. I gotta have surgery, coach.
Right. Speaking of the Patriots, I forgot to mention that they dominated the Jets on Sunday night. We all wake up Monday morning, and the Patriots traded for Sanu from the Falcons, wide receiver, which put everybody in a panic mode because you're like, oh, my God, you got Jeff Gordon coming back. You got Josh Gordon. Jeff Gordon. Josh Gordon coming back.
What number is driving?
N'Keal Harry's coming back. The rookie from Arizona State's coming back. You have all those receivers there. First of all, my question is I get it. You're getting draft picks. I understand the thing. But why do you keep sending your best players to the Patriots? Why does everybody do this? Why?
Can nobody else find a fifth-round pick to get somebody?
That's my point. My God, Falcons could have traded him to anybody else in the league, would have traded whatever picks they got for him. And why do you pick the Patriots?
And is it just me, or do the Patriots just have like an endless supply of draft picks?
It feels like it. I don't know what's going on in this world. But how is nobody else doing this? I'm so perplexed by this.
New England's traded their first-round pick 3 times for next year.
New England cannot be that much smarter than the other 31 teams in the league to where they always get the better play. Like, what is going on? So that's my first issue with it. But then they come out and they put Josh Gordon on the IR. He's going to be done with the Patriots. His contract's up. They're obviously not going to re-sign him since he spent more time on IR or PUP list or whatever than actually playing for him. Man, just sad to see what's happened to Josh Gordon, right? He keeps trying to fight back, and there's just nothing, and now he's gone, And it's like no team's going to take a chance on him now, right?
And it's with Josh Gordon, it's you want to like the guy.
You do.
You want him to. He's one of those guys that you want to succeed, and there just seems to be something in front of him all the time that just stops it from happening.
Yeah, but that's also life, We all have demons.
Oh God, yes we do.
And his just happens to be weed.
Yeah.
Which I don't get at all. Like, I don't like anything in my life well enough that it's going to cost me something I love to do. You know what I mean? Like I used to love to water ski before my knees got bad and everything. And nothing would get in the way of that. Nothing. I would go to bed early on a Friday night, early meaning 9, 10, 11. I wouldn't be out till 2 in the morning and then get up early and go to the lake. Nothing would get in the way of what I love to do.
Yeah, I mean, and that makes sense.
So I can't understand it. I can't understand, but I understand that's I guess that's addiction. But I just can't grasp the concept of there's something I love to do. And oh my God, if they would have paid me a lot of money to water ski, I would have.
Right.
Oh my God, I would have been in at 7 in the morning. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I just can't. I don't think most of the world can grasp his issue. I think that's kind of why we all kind of root for him, right? And kind of feel bad for him.
It's the American story. You want the the addict to recover and succeed, and you're always looking for that good story. You want a good 30 for 30 10 years from now on him, and you're not going to get
so much talent too, man.
Yeah,
he would have been. I mean, he would have been. I mean, OBJ's got talent, but he just would have been so much bigger than OBJ ever was or is. And stuff like that. And that's what's sad about it. But
I definitely agree with you on that topic.
So let's go to picks real quick before we wrap this thing up here. So college football this week. I have Jason's picks. He's not able to call in today, dealing with the other issues that he has going on. I like how I call work issues.
Jason Carter's on assignment.
Jason's issues. So, first game, we're going to start with college football here. We got number 24, Arizona State at the UCLA Bruins. 4:30 p.m. kickoff time out here in the West. What say you, Adam?
I'm going to go with UCLA.
Ooh, first of all, that's not allowed on this podcast.
Well, it just happened. Market timed it. 4:22 Mountain Time on the 24th.
Right on there, right? So, I mean, UCLA can play. Here's my caveat on this: is I'm going with ASU. Obviously, I think they rebound from the Washington loss last week. I'm sorry, the Utah loss last week. ASU was exposed as just being a young team, but Utah's defense is one of the best in the nations. UCLA's is not, but UCLA can score points because it's Chip Kelly's offense. So if this ends up being like a 50 to something ball game, I don't think ASU can win it.
Shootout.
But if they keep it respectable, the defense shows up, I think ASU wins this game. So me and Jason have ASU. You have UCLA. The vaunted South Carolina Gamecocks at the University of Tennessee. Who do you got?
I'm going Gamecocks. I mean, Tennessee hasn't shown me anything that says that they can compete.
Right? We're all picking. Jason's got the South Carolina. I texted him back and I said,
What?
I said, no faith in Tennessee. And his response was, oh, I don't have it here. Oh, not with that fucktard Garantiano, whatever the guy's name is. Jason's off the Tennessee bandwagon. But South Carolina had the big upset against Georgia 2 weeks ago. They're not a bad team. I agree. South Carolina is rooting for this, and it's one of the few times you will see me rooting for cock.
I'm not even going to go there.
Oh, dad jokes. Next up, we got number 13, Wisconsin versus number 3, Ohio State. Is this Wisconsin's year, Mr. Big Ten Adam?
This is Wisconsin years to keep falling because they are not going to get a win over the Ohio State University.
If this was on the road, I would toy with playing with Wisconsin, but not at. I'm sorry, if this was at home, I would toy with picking Wisconsin. But Ohio State is looking so good. I am interested in this game because this is really the first big test for Ohio State, and they still have 2 more coming up. I mean, Michigan, of course, but then Penn State possibly coming down the pipeline. So I agree. I'm going to go with Ohio State in this one as well, and Jason picked the Buckeyes to go as well. The Buckeyes. The game of the weekend here. Let's skip this one and let's go number 8 Notre Dame versus number 19 Michigan. Harbaugh sent a letter to his recruits and everybody this week and his players' families telling them that all the rumors that he's looking for an out to the NFL are wrong, which means he is doing it.
And doing it quickly.
And doing it fast, right? So Notre Dame at number 8 Notre Dame at number 19 Michigan. Who you got?
Go Blue.
Go Michigan?
Go Michigan. I cannot pick Notre Dame. I just do not like that.
I agree with you.
And I think Jim Harbaugh needs this win.
I agree with you. My only issue is Michigan can't score points, and Notre Dame can. So if Michigan can score points, I'd pick them, but they just can't. So unfortunately, I got to agree with Jason Carter on this one, and I'm going with the Irish. I have to.
Nah.
I can't put faith. Plus, I think that Jim Harbaugh, they're not going to fire him, but they're going to say, "Hey, go look for another job, and we'll let you go."
We'll let you out.
We'll both get out of this deal a little bit, you know. Let's see what happens here. Plus, he'll probably be able to name his successor, to be honest with you. He could negotiate that, too. But anyway, game of the weekend, I am super stoked for this one. Number 9, Auburn versus number 2, Louisiana State University.
I'm going with Auburn on this one. I'm just not sold, so I'm going to go Auburn.
So LSU's offense is dynamite this year now because they finally got a passing game coordinator and they actually passed the ball. My only reason I'm not picking Auburn in this one and I'm going with LSU is because, one, it's at home, but also Auburn's got that true freshman quarterback, which he came back and beat Oregon early in the year. He's had a couple good games this year, but this is a huge test for him. And I don't know if a freshman can pull through on it on the road. So I'm going to go with LSU on this one also. And Jason has LSU, the Tigers. Give Eddie-O, baby, Eddie-O.
Now, I know we're up against it with picks, but for next week, I'd like to go into a little bit of where Jim Harbaugh ends up in the
Oh,
NFL.
yeah, totally. That's actually what we're leading up to, because this week was the Guinea, so when they lose this weekend bad to Notre Dame, which they're going to do,
when they win.
it's going to be all the talk.
When they win,
It's going to be all the talk next
a
week.
little bit
so,
higher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So last week, we all went 4-1 last week with our picks. The only loss we had was we all picked ASU over Utah, which
Jumped off that bandwagon.
So for the season, I'm 26-10. Jason is 24-12, and you are 4-1, sir. Woo! Woohoo! Go team! All right, let's just go right into the NFL picks now, really quick. Thursday Night Football tonight, actually kicking off in about 30 minutes. Of course, this won't be posted in time, but we have Redskins at Vikings. What do you got?
I will never pick the Redskins, so I'm just going Vikings.
Vikings have been, I was telling you earlier what a funny world we are with NFL football, where 3 weeks ago we were all talking about how Kirk Cousins can't find his way out of his wet paper bag. He sucks. What a horrible guaranteed thing. And he's had the best 3 game of his career in the last 3 weeks.
Maybe
so.
Mac knocked something loose and he became a better player again.
So Jason, Adam, and Steve all have the Vikings. Seahawks at Falcons on Sunday. Who do you got?
I'm going with the Seahawks.
Yeah, I think Seahawks are easily going to walk away with this, especially they made a trade this week for, I believe, an offensive lineman?
Yeah,
Diggs
pretty
or
good
whatever.
one too.
Yeah, so but I mean the Falcons, they traded Sanu away. They just hurt their already bad offense. Falcons are just a dead team walking right now. So all 3 of us have the Seahawks. Eagles at Bills. Good luck with this one. This is a tough one to pick.
Yeah, this is a tough one, but you know what? I think Philadelphia is better than a 3-4 ball club.
Philadelphia's they're injured right now though.
Yeah,
that's the
and
problem.
You know what? Buffalo's 5-1, but I'm not sold on them, so I'm going back and forth on this one. I'm only going to go Buffalo because they're at home.
I'm actually going Buffalo on this one as well because I am sold on Buffalo for certain matchups. You know, so I caveat that. Buffalo will beat teams that are injured or down. They'll have no problem beating those teams. They're going to struggle against the good teams in the league that are solid. I agree. Jason has the Eagles this weekend. The Eagles are a walking mash unit right now, and they're going to start getting players back after this week, though, and so that's what you're going to have to pay attention to as we go on, is the Eagles should have a great second half of the season coming up. We're going to skip the next one because I don't want to hear your Mitch Trubisky rant right now. We're going to go on to this. Giants at the Lions. Jason Carter has the Lions. What say you?
I have the Lions also. The Giants just are a wreck, too.
I have no faith in the Lions at all. I don't think they're as good as what their record indicates. But I'm going with the Lions this weekend because, yeah, the Giants are just ugh. Especially watching them last week with the Cardinals. Raiders at Texans. Jason Carter has the Texans. He's been riding this Texan bandwagon all year long.
I'm going back with it one more time. Knocking on wood because I'm with them, and I'm going with Oakland.
Going with Oakland. I think this is Oakland's last road game in a row, right?
Yeah, they've been on the road.
Then they go home
for
7 weeks, something like that.
They've been on the road for a while.
Well, they had the bye week in there, too.
They went to London.
I know. I'm actually going to go with the Texans on this one. I actually think after this game this weekend, if the Raiders win this game, they're going to go on a tear. But even if they lose this game, they're going to go on a winning streak because they have a pretty weak schedule coming up. But I'm going to go Texans. Jason Carter has the Texans, and Adam has the Raiders. The Jets, Jets, going on the road to Jacksonville. Jason Carter is riding the Minshew bandwagon all year long, picking them here. What do you got, Adam?
I'm going with the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Khan family, because the Jets are just terrible.
You know what? I would be picking the Jets in this game if Adam Gates wasn't their freaking head coach. I just cannot stand this guy. I think he's awful. I'm going to go Jaguars in this one also.
What did ever do to you?
He was born.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
That's just sad.
I just don't. Okay. I don't think you can get a head coaching job in Miami and then everybody say how it's the organization's bad. The organization's bad. He's a good coach. The organization's bad. And then he sucks in the Jets. The same things are happening in New York as happened in Miami. And yes, the Jets are a bad organization, but at some point you have to take responsibility as a head coach that it's you. You stench. It's your stench all over the team. Gaze, yours.
Sorry, Adam. Didn't mean to put you on the spot like that.
I think I used his name wrong. I think I said his name wrong earlier, too.
I still like you, Coach Gase.
Okay.
I'd knock on wood, but that's not your thing.
We have the Bengals at the Rams. I have no idea if Gurley's playing again this week or not. I don't think it matters. Jason has the Rams winning this one. I have the Rams winning this one.
Yeah, I'd be an idiot not to take the Rams in this one.
Yeah, Bengals are, God, I think half of the Rams could beat the Bengals right now. Buccaneers at the Titans. Jason is writing this Buccaneers deal. I don't understand it all year long. He's going with the Buccaneers.
I'm going with Tennessee.
I got Tennessee also. They played good last week with Tannehill starting.
And Tampa Bay is not that good on the road. It hasn't been that good on the road in a while.
It's after their bye week. Jameis Winston had a god-awful game in London. God-awful. Gave me 0 points for Mike Evans in that game. And after a bye week, so they've had a week or two to work on whatever. I don't think it's going to matter. Titans are going to win this game. Yeah. Panthers at 49ers. This is the hardest game to pick this week, I feel.
I am staying with Jimmy and the 49ers, and I don't think it's even going to be close.
Kyle Allen is undefeated as a starter for the Panthers. I've been riding this wave. I'm going to ride it still.
You're staying on
I'm staying with the Panthers.
On the road.
On the road. In San Fran, I think the Panthers are going to go in there. It's just dink and dunk. McCaffrey's too much for that Niners defense. Niners are riding this wave where they're played. Granted, they played the Rams, but they're riding this wave right now where they just hit teams at the right time with injury bugs and things like that. I think the Niners' undefeated season ends this weekend, whereas you and Jason say the Niners are going to continue it.
So the Dolphins are still going to are going to be one step closer to popping that champagne.
Yeah, but the Patriots,
Yeah.
The Patriots have the Chiefs without Mahomes possibly, and then it's just lining up.
Just go ahead and put them through. Put them in the bowl.
It's like, oh my God.
Sorry, the big game.
I know, right? You can't say that.
Can't say that.
Broncos at the Colts. Jason has the Colts winning this one.
I think it was part of my hiring agreement that I had to take the Colts at this one, so I'm going to go with the Colts.
when your boss man's a big Colts fan, yes,
you
probably.
just go along with them.
I actually think the Colts find their winning ways again this weekend. The Colts aren't a bad team. Broncos, oh my God, their quarterback for the Broncos, their starting quarterback, it looks just awful.
They have one?
The guy from the Ravens that came over. I'm thinking Gus Farrat, and that's not it. I know.
Wow.
He might as well be Gus Farrat. Yeah, I know.
No.
But he looked so bad last week. It was so god-awful. But they can't go to Drew Lock because Drew Lock's not ready. So I don't know what the Broncos are going to do. So the Colts are winning this game. All three of us have that one. Browns at the Patriots. I had to double-check this twice because I wasn't sure. But Jason has the Browns in this one.
What?
Flacco.
Flacco.
Oh, Flacco. There. I kid you not. Browns are lit up right there. He picked the Browns over the Patriots. Jason Carter. What say you, Adam?
I'm still speechless. So there is
Adam is on the floor right now.
Wow, Jason. I
Medics are on
don't
the
know if you brought some drinks to work with you and you didn't share, but if you did, I'm a little upset with you. And I'm just going to stay with the Patriots because I'm smarter than you, obviously, at this point.
Yeah, it's a home game for the Patriots. They just got Sanu in. They're going to want to play with their new toy, right? They're going to just be launching the ball up to him. Browns on offense have done nothing. I was reading stories about how Kitchens might be fired here in the next week or two if they don't show anything. They're not showing anything this week. Patriots are winning this game. So let's go back. Chargers, the unluckiest team in football by far. It's like every week, it's like, how will the Chargers lose this week? And every week they find a new way to lose against your Chicago Bears.
I've already run on my rants for the day, and I feel like I've calmed down a little bit.
I'll just say it for you. Adam gave up on Mitch Trubisky like 3 weeks ago, and he was yelling at Madden NFL Madden video game the other night when he was playing it because Mitch threw an interception, and he was yelling at the TV screen from his bedroom. It was quite intimidating.
It felt real. Damn it, it's real to us. And you know what? The Chargers are more of a mess than the Bears, so I'm going to go with the Bears based on how messed up the Chargers are.
I want to go with the Chargers in this game. I possibly think the Chargers might pull this one out, but oh my God, how much heartbreak and pain can you be if you're in the Chargers organization? I was even reading stories how they're thinking about trading Melvin Gordon and start unloading people at the trading deadline. I agree. All three of us agree. Bears are winning this one. Jason,
Bears.
You and me say Bears are going to do this one. Cardinals at the Saints. If you want my in-depth knowledge, again, I have the Cardinals Rewind on the main event also coming out as well. So listen to that for in-depth for following up on last week's game against the Giants, leading into the game this weekend with the Saints for my in-depth knowledge this week. I have I have the Saints winning this game. Drew Brees is not officially the starter. He says he's going to play. I don't think it matters. Teddy Bridgewater's the man. Alvin Kamara's hurt, but he's still going to go in there and play. David Johnson's hurt. The Cardinals just signed Alfred Morris as a backup to Chase Edmonds. Yeah, Saints are winning this. Saints are continuing this winning race.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Saints here. I just watching the Saints Bears last week and just how that defensive line of the Saints is really, really good. And I know the Cardinals are improving, but I just don't think it'll be enough.
Yeah, Cardinals are improving, but the three teams, they're on a 3-game winning streak, and the three teams they just beat have a combined 4 wins,
right,
5 wins.
Three, so.
Yeah. So, I mean, Saints without Drew Brees are a possible Super Bowl contender. With Drew Brees, the only thing I can think of here is giving you hope is Drew Brees comes in and he's just rusty as all heck, But even then, I don't think it matters.
I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I think you see Teddy Bridgewater, and I think that this is just because the Saints go into their bye next week. I just think that you're gonna just see Teddy again. I think it's just game planning.
I agree. They're making them think twice about it. I agree with that, but I would give them a better chance of winning the game if it was Drew Brees, just because you have a rust factor. Teddy Bridgewater is it's gonna be ugly. Even though the Cardinals defense did play better last week, but again, it was the Giants. Next up, Sunday Night Football: Packers at the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes was practicing today.
You know what?
Will he play? Doo-doo.
I don't think he plays. I don't think that the Chiefs need him to play because, they can. This is a game that already trends towards the Packers. It's Sunday Night Football. It's Aaron Rodgers under the big lights. This is one of those games where I think if you're the Chiefs, you just go ahead and let Patrick rest. It's not a division game. It's not a conference game. I let it go, and I'm going Packers.
I agree. Even Mahomes, if they play Mahomes, I think Andy Reid should be fired immediately. Give him a week off. Kneecaps are one of those things where if you pop them back into place. I watched a video on Monday or Tuesday of a rugby player that's kneecap went sideways, and you could see it go sideways. Dude's laying on the ground.
Face at that point.
Pops it back into place, gets up, finishes the match. That's rugby. That's a rugby right there. Australian rules.
Reminds me of Lethal Weapon with him popping his shoulder back in place.
Rugby players are way tougher than football players.
But I can't see. I don't find a reason to play Mahomes at this point. Do you? You set him.
You set him this week. Here's the other thing: if he is truly healthy, you set him this week, get him ready, because then you got the Patriots coming up,
and that's more important.
That's a more important game.
That's a more important game.
Yeah.
This game against Green Bay in the big spectrum of playoffs and it's not that important to them.
Yeah, because Patriots are winning the number 1 seed, right? So you're going to be going for 2, and this is an NFC foe, so it doesn't even count against you. So
yep.
I agree, and I think the Packers, just because Mahomes plays or not, I just think Matt Moore, it's going to be a closer game than people think. Matt Moore is going to be serviceable, I think, as a backup quarterback. My other question is why does Matt Moore always seem to be the backup on teams where guys get hurt, like star quarterbacks get hurt? Do you think Matt Moore's I'm going to sign with this team because that guy never gets hurt. And then they always get hurt, and he has to go in and play a game or two.
Well, he keeps getting them contracts, though. I mean,
just out of nowhere. It's like,
I mean,
Matt Moore
and
shows
he's serviceable,
up.
So
no, you're right.
I'd like to have him on the Bears.
It's like Matt Moore just shows up out of nowhere, like once a year for like a game or two.
Wait, it's a bird. It's a plane. It's Matt Moore.
That was really my reaction when because I didn't watch that game last week, and I saw Mahomes went down on Thursday night, and then I didn't follow up at all. And like the next morning, I was doing research, and I type in to see, and it's like Matt Moore, and I'm like, oh, Matt Moore, what? Like, what? Who? He's still around? Oregon State, man, come on, Matt Moore.
Oh, that one. Okay.
I think it was Oregon State. Last game for the weekend: Dolphins at the Steelers. Well, here's an exciting Monday Night Football matchup.
You know who's happy about this matchup?
Will it be more exciting than the 33-0 drubbing we watched this week?
You know who's excited about this matchup?
Nobody.
WWE.
Oh, yeah.
Raw's excited about it. I'm going to take anybody but the Dolphins. So whoever they want to suit up on the other sideline, it's fine with me. So go ahead and give me the Steelers.
I'm going Steelers because Mason Rudolph, I almost called him Mason Cole. Mason Rudolph is not that bad of a quarterback. Steelers still have talent on that team. Dolphins are just a mess, tanking. Nobody knows what's going on there. So I'm going to go with the Steelers on that one. So there are picks this week.
Who did Mr. Carter go with on that last one?
I'm sorry. He went with the Steelers also.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure we had him.
Yep,
on
and
the,
he went with the
record.
Packers on Sunday Night Football. You're right. I might have forgotten. So
all right. I just wanted to make sure our correspondent on assignment got his record
yes.
in the books here.
He did, and I have it on my text messages as well because I had to do a double take on that Cleveland Patriots one.
Still trying to figure that one out.
I texted him back and was like,
did he make a mistake?
I go, how much White Castle did you have today?
We have had no White Castle. I've been dispatched twice for White Castle and came up 0.
You're the one. So for those of you that don't know, really quick, 'cause I know we're running long, a White Castle, first White Castle open in Arizona opened yesterday. And I don't know what time it opened.
It opened at 7 a.m.
Ridiculous for hamburgers, crappy hamburgers. So it opens up 2-hour wait lines, 4-hour wait lines. People are waiting in line everywhere for it. It's a 24-hour White Castle. They had them closing at 1 a.m. last night because the demand just never lets up, and the workers needed a break, and they were running out of food. Rumor has it. So they opened back up at 8 o'clock this morning. Hour wait before they even open. People are lined up waiting to get in there.
No, I stopped there at 4:30 this morning.
Yeah.
And there was 15 people going back to their cars mad because they weren't open.
Yeah.
And I was one of them.
Because they're supposed to be 24 hours. But then they announced today for the next few days. I think they said 3 days, but don't quote me on this. Don't get mad at me, people in your White Castle. But they're going to close at 1 a.m. and reopen at 9 a.m. for the next 3 days to restock, give their employees rest, be able to clean the restaurant. And they put a 60 limit slider order. You can't order more than 60 sliders during this opening time.
I appreciate the knowledge now that I will not have to stop at the White Castle tomorrow morning on my way in.
Yeah, because it's 9 o'clock it opens now,
Yeah,
they said.
So I won't have to stop, so I feel better about that now.
So that it's setting records for White Castle openings, which I guess are huge all over the country, which I've had, and I had it in Kentucky, Louisville. And
there's one in Chicago every 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And the only time you're going to see me in the drive-thru at the White Castle is if I shouldn't be in the car behind the wheel at the White Castle.
Yeah, it's like ridiculous. It's like, hey guys.
It's not like it's a Waffle House.
Yeah. White Castle will be open next week, guys. You don't need to wait in line for 4 hours for sliders.
Don't they sell them in the grocery store?
Yeah, they do. Out here. That's the only way you could get them before. Yeah, I can't stand it. I'm not a fast food guy to begin with. I'll eat it every once in a while, but I can't stand that place.
I love the fruit. Taco Del, what is it?
Del Taco?
Del Taco. Oh, do I love the Del
phenomenal.
Taco. Man, does it blow the Taco Bell away.
Phenomenal.
My favorite place, besides Jack in the Box and Waffle House.
Yeah, because you're a big Jack in the Box guy because you don't have those in Chicago. Have you done In-N-Out yet?
I've had In-N-Out the last
Yeah, that's time you had it. Yeah, we went there one time.
In-N-Out didn't really make me like, oh my God, it's the greatest thing ever. But I'll tell you, those tacos.
Whatever sauce they put on those In-N-Out. I get a double spread only, which means nothing else on it but just the spread and cheese and everything. And I don't know what's in that sauce. Crack is in that sauce. Crack is in it. Anyway, so that's our Phoenix White Castle update for everybody. We'll probably have one next week when they're open 24 hours.
I get to go to when Zach gets into town. I get to go to Waffle House. I promised him I wouldn't go to Waffle House.
There's one right down the road from the house.
So I get to go to Waffle House in about 48 hours.
There's one up right at the road on the freeway.
I pass them all the time, and haven't been able to stop yet.
So other quick news real fast because we're running long. Big Brawler brand is announced they're coming back. They're redoing the logos and everything and coming back. Do you care?
Don't give it.
No, I don't. If you're going to sell unquality, crappy merchandise, I have no interest.
Yeah, I got nothing.
I'll support them if they have something worthwhile. Like I don't even support Under Armour because I think most of their stuff is ugly, and even Nike at this point. But yeah, I know who cares, right? But he announced it was coming back. Joe West, the Major League umpire.
I hate Joe West.
Everybody does. He's suing former catcher Paul LaDuca and the Action Network, which is a gambling network, for saying that he took bribes for umpiring games.
You know who really hates Joe West?
Everybody.
Hawk Harrelson.
Nah.
You should do some Joe. When you get some time, YouTube Hawk Harrelson, Joe West, and he will go on and
Isn't he the White Sox announcer?
He used to be, and he would just say, "Joe West, you gotta be bleeping me."
Here's my question though: is Joe West is just suing him? He doesn't say if he did or he didn't take bribes. So here's my question: is he just a naturally really crappy umpire that
he is a
sucks?
terrible umpire?
Or is he doing bribes and it's worthwhile? Because there's a difference. I'll respect the man if he's taking bribes and calling the game for bribes, because that means he's not a crappy umpire. I want to know the answer to this.
Yeah,
I read his lawsuit looking for a denial, and he doesn't even deny it. He's just suing him, saying it's like bad to say it. And I'm like, well, did you?
Don't say that.
Yeah, but did you take bribes? I need to know this. I don't even care if you did.
Minds want to know right here on the main event. So Joe West, if you're listening and want to come on the show and defend yourself, feel free to reach out to me.
After we get done just blasting him for being crappy.
He's calling out Carlson as a character witness.
I just want to know if it's you just naturally this crappy, like unintentionally, or are you purposely being this way?
Plate, it is terrible.
Even when he's out in the field, he's horrible. So last
Go
thing
sing your country songs, Joe.
Last thing I got for you is, if you care, I'm curious. Conor McGregor says he's going to return to the Octagon January 18th, and they announced this in Vegas. Any interest?
I'm interested because I think Conor McGregor is a WWE light star as far as getting publicity and
he's a great self-marketer. Yeah,
marketing. And the UFC needs him because he actually brings interest to the UFC. Because right now there is no interest in their regular. You know what I mean? Like you got to have McGregor to pull those pay-per-view buys. So yes, I am interested in what Conor McGregor, who he fights, and it will get me to go to a Buffalo Wild Wings and watch the fight.
I agree. I'm interested.
They're not getting $70 though.
Yeah, right. I'm interested just because it is Conor McGregor. However, I don't think he can fight anymore, and I think it'll be a board. It's not going to be like it was in his mainstay because he got that big payday and he lost the fight. My question is, did he lose all that money and that's why he's fighting again? Or is it just he has a love for the sport still and he thinks he still has it and he wants to go try?
Conor McGregor is a publicity hog, and his name hasn't been out there. And how do you get your name back out there? You get back in the octagon.
Yeah, I'm not. That's what I'm mainly curious about is because I'm not sure. He's definitely not the fighter he was in his heyday, but I'm not sure if he's even. Is he half the fighter? Is he quarter of the fighter? Is he 3/4 of the fighter?
I don't think the UFC cares because their buy numbers
all the
are going
money.
to go
Through the roof.
If he can perform, if he's half the fighter and can perform still, it's another payday down the line.
No, I don't disagree with that 100%. But I found that interesting that he's coming back because, guys like him who grew up the way they grew up, where they were just fighters. Once you get paydays, man, you just lose that drive.
Yep, but he doesn't lose that mouth.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So we got to get it on there. And he has disappeared because of all of his legal problems and all that. So anything else you got, Adam?
No, I'm good today.
Where can people reach you at so we can get more than 50 followers for you?
Yeah, I need more than 50 followers. Let's get it up to 55 this week would be great. You can reach out to me at AdamMichaels05. I think that's changing eventually here sooner or later, but
you keep that. You have to change the name side of it.
Yeah, something like that. But
yeah.
reach me out to at Adam Michaels 05 on Twitter. Some more social media to follow shortly here.
They give you a nickname yet?
No, not
No.
yet.
So
White Castle Boy.
Yeah, right.
Now, it
Runner,
feels like.
White Castle Runner.
Right.
You can reach me, of course, at SMAC500 on Twitter, Snapchat, and Instagram. Definitely get on board. We have a lot of projects going on besides the main event, the Cardinals Rewind I got. We also have doing a racing video recap, along with all the racing that we deal with out here, especially with all the playoffs going on, tweeting constantly these days. So anyway, see you guys next week. We'll see if Jason frees up next week to join us.
You got to remember, you can follow Jason at Jason Carter 03 on everything. Except Snapchat now, right?
I don't pimp Jason. He does a good enough job pimping himself.
True. I had to pimp him.
Edit that out. No,
I got some lunch. I can tell him
He paid you.
Now. I get lunch. So Jason Carter 03 on everything but Snapchat these days.
Instagram and Twitter on there. Definitely give him a shout. He's actually can be quite entertaining with the interviews that he's getting now for the other job that he has that he's tied up in. Anyway, Adam, see you next week.
See ya.